Hospital workers. What is the worst thing you've seen a patient go through? This kid Daniel was 13 when he first came in with stage 4 Ewing sarcoma. Most kids that age are worried about video games or who likes who at school. Daniel was different. The first thing you'd notice wasn't his bald head or how skinny he'd gotten. It was this red binder he carried everywhere. Inside were plastic sleeves with lab results, medication schedules, side effect charts, and pages of questions written in his neat handwriting. No parent asked him to do this. Hell, his parents weren't even around most days. They lived 2 hours away and couldn't afford to take time off work except on weekends. So Daniel basically became his own case manager at 13 years old. He knew his chemo schedule better than some of the residents. I watched him correct a doctor on his cisplatin dosage once. The doctor looked embarrassed because the kid was right. Daniel had made these charts tracking his white blood cell counts with different colored pens. Red for dangerous levels, yellow for caution, green for good days. We joked that he'd be running the hospital someday, but honestly, it broke our hearts. This kid was dealing with cancer alone. When he got his spinal taps, there was no parent holding his hand. When his port got infected and we had to rush him to ICU at midnight, he just quietly asked if someone could grab his binder from his room. The only time I ever saw him cry was after he overheard Dr. Kim telling another nurse that he probably wouldn't make it past October. That night, I found him in his room tearing out the October calendar page from his binder. He wadded it up and threw it in the trash. Then he just sat there staring at November like he was making some kind of deal with it. Daniel was smart as hell too. He'd research his treatment options online and come to rounds with printouts about new clinical trials. One time he asked Dr. Kim why they weren't trying immunotherapy combinations he'd read about in some medical journal. The attending looked stunned that a 13-year-old even knew what immunotherapy was. But what really got to me was how responsible he felt for everything. If his labs came back bad, he'd apologize to us like it was his fault. If the chemo made him sick, he'd clean up after himself and thank the nurses for helping. This kid was carrying the weight of his own cancer like it was a job he had to do perfectly. Then one Thursday in September, Daniel came in for a bone marrow biopsy. Routine procedure, he'd had them before. But about an hour after, he started having trouble breathing. His oxygen levels dropped fast and he was gasping like he couldn't get air. We called a code blue. His lungs were filling with fluid and nothing we did could stabilize him. The whole team was working on him. Intubation, chest tubes, medications, everything. And through all of it, Daniel was awake and aware. His last words before we had to sedate him were asking if someone could update his binder with what was happening. He died that night. 13 years old, and his biggest worry was keeping his medical records organized. After Daniel passed, I couldn't bring myself to throw away that red binder. His parents never came back for it, so I kept it.